Hello and welcome to the Matt and Phreds Speakeasy podcast. My name is Claire Turner and I run our little family business with my sister, our parents and the wonderful Matt and Phreds team, two of whom are running the podcast show. David Smith Jr. and Ed Gallyot will be chatting to some of the wonderful musicians who play at the club here in Manchester. They'll be discussing musical inspirations, songwriting techniques and hearing a little bit about what makes each of the musicians tick. If you can, please visit the Matt and Phreds website at mattandphreds.com. Phreds is spelt with a PH, and check out our online shop. There's loads of goodies to buy, of which money will go towards helping musicians who have lost all of their gigging income during this COVID-19 lockdown. So, without further ado, over to you, David and Ed. Enjoy the show.
Lovely indeed. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Matt and Phreds Speakeasy podcast. My name is David Smith Jr. and I'm joined by my co-host and cohort Ed Gallyot. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, David. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I think I'm starting to go a little stir crazy, being locked in my house the way that I am, but I think I'm getting through it just about.
Yeah, I'm just sticking on a bunch of music, making sure I go for a little walk.
Your one jog a day, I guess.
Yeah, always. Only one. Never leave the house for more. Only the essentials.
Only the essentials. And so, before we get to our guest, because what we do on this show is we interview musical guests who come through Matt and Phreds Club and we listen to their music and we ask them all sorts of insightful questions. But before we do that, I think we should probably introduce ourselves a little bit first. So, you take it away and I'll follow suit.
I'm Ed. I'm one of the sound engineers at Matt and Phreds, one of many talented sound engineers. And on the podcast, I'm going to be putting together all the tracks, putting together all the audio, all the sound effects you hear, and yeah, keeping things ticking along nicely with the main man, David. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you very much, Ed. My name is David, as you know. I'm one of the many talented bar managers and bar staff who work at the club. So some of you might recognise me, or you would if you could see me, but this is an audio medium, so you're just stuck with the sound of both of our voices.
Unfortunately so.
The sound of both of our voices, and of course, this tune that you're hearing in the background, which is the first of our local recommended tracks, which we'll be having one of each episode. So Ed, how about you tell us a little bit about what we're listening to right now?
This one's Velvet Shakes, and it's a cover of the Olivia Newton-John classic Physical. These guys describe themselves as cosmic pop, but if you look on their Spotify, it's just full of funky bangers. They've been gigging around Manchester for the last 2-3 years, and you should definitely go down and check out their live show. It's pretty entertaining, pretty phenomenal stuff.
I mean, to be honest, you had me at cosmic pop, and then you said funky bangers, and I'm sold. I'm absolutely there. So in a moment, once this is finished, we'll be introducing you guys to our guest, who we're very excited to have. Isn't that right, Ed?
We're very excited. We've met her many times, but this will be the first time we're sitting down and really getting into what goes behind the brilliant music.
And we are, of course, talking about the fantastic, radiant Charlie Cooper, who will be joining us. But first, I think we should let this tune play out, have a bit of a listen. So it's time to say hello to our guest for this episode. So we're here with Charlie Cooper. How are you, Charlie?
I'm fine, David. So good to see you both. And Ed, how are you doing?
Yeah, we're very well, thanks. We're all on a nice Skype group call, aren't we? Just
it's nice to have some human interaction.
Yeah, it's almost like being at the pub. I have got wine, so...
And you don't even have to pay for it.
No, well, I don't usually anyway, darling.
not at Matt and Phreds, no, not there. So, I mean, we were just talking a little bit before the recording started about how we're all doing and stuff. It must be pretty difficult not getting out to do all the gigs that you'd like to be doing, that you would usually be doing.
Yeah, obviously, I'm panicking for my financial welfare, but actually, I am actually enjoying the break a little bit. Not doing loads of my sort of bread and butter gigs in restaurants and bars where no one's listening. obviously I'm missing my Matt and Phreds gigs. They're like the ones I live for.
And that has nothing to do with the fact that this is a Matt and Phreds podcast, of course.
No. But yeah, my voice feels a bit rested, and it's I've been practicing Oscar Peterson all day and getting some writing done. So
very lovely. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you're finding some silver linings. Us putting together this podcast, this has been our sort of passion project during this time, so hopefully this goes well.
Yeah, well, glad to be a guinea pig.
Yes. So, Charlie, how about you tell us what we're listening to today?
All right, so you are just about to listen to Beautiful Clown.
Ed, do you want to do the first question? Because I've been doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah, go on then. This tune's got quite an old school sound to it. The instrumental makes us think of something on a prettier Elvis Costello track, and the singing could belong on a Aretha Franklin record. Are there any particular singers that you had in mind when you were creating this track?
Well, Aretha Franklin was definitely not one of them. But thank you so much for saying that. That was very kind. And I have been sort of compared to Elvis Costello before, but I didn't really get that. For me, when I was sort of imagining what this was going to sound like, I had Karen Carpenter's voice in my head. That kind of like with the low tones, and it's very smooth. It's just a chilled out ballad, which you don't really get a lot of these days.
Yeah, I mean, and the arrangement of this tune is what we wanted to talk about, because with all the bells and the brass and the guitar leads coming in towards the end,
Yeah.
It's a really thick song. It's very textured, and I'm just wondering, is that like, do you have these sounds in mind and this sort of final project in mind when you start?
No, David, I do not. So I gotta be totally honest here. I mean, I can't take credit for the magic of that record. So I basically write the bare bones of the song, the skeleton of the song on my piano, and then the producer for this particular album was Mark Lewis, and he's amazing, and he wrote all the string parts and everything else, and then the lovely Mr. Liam Mawson wrote the gorgeous piano solo, that was probably not in the right key.
It's fine, we'll fix that in editing.
Which is personally my favourite bit of the whole thing. So, no, I cannot take credit for any of that, but thanks for asking.
Well, your honesty is appreciated. I was just wondering, a lot of the themes in your music that I've listened to anyway seems to be about regret and lots of angry things and stuff like
sad.
that. No, in like a good way though. It feels very therapeutic, and I was wondering if that's where it comes from. Is that?
First of all, I'll say it is very hard to write a happy song that doesn't sound like a nursery rhyme, which is why you probably don't get a lot of happy-ish sounding songs. And I was advised once that you should only write something if it means something to you. But actually, this beautiful clown, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this. So I'm watching Family Guy.
That's always the best start to a songwriting story.
Yeah, and Meg, there's an episode where Meg is she dresses up and she puts loads of makeup on, and her dad, what's the dad called again? Oh my gosh,
Peter Griffin.
Peter says to her, oh Meg, you look like a beautiful clown.
Wow, that was actually not bad. That was a pretty good impression.
So, and I heard that, and I just absolutely loved it. So from that, I got the title, and then that theme and the imagery, then that all just flowed naturally because there's so much to work with. So in my head, I'm not the beautiful clown.
That's good. That's good to know.
So, I had the idea and the theme, and I just wanted to tell the story. The made-up story.
It's always great to channel your inner Mila Kunis anyway.
Well,
yeah. Every day.
So what are we listening to now, Charlie?
Now we are going to listen to A Little Less.
This song has the groove of a Muscle Shoals tune, and the horns play off the vocal beautifully. Are there any specific tunes or inspirations you were thinking when you were recording these parts? I just wondered if you'd speak to the horn players about where the vocal sits, or...
Again, so I spoke about Mark Lewis before. I mean, he really sort of crafted the whole structure of that, and actually, I didn't write the bridge for that. An amazing piano player called Justin Shern wrote the bridge for that. If you'd have heard my original version of this tune, it's actually in 3/4.
Right.
It sounds completely different. So when you've heard me playing it at Matt and Phreds by myself on the piano, it's probably quite unrecognisable to the actual record that we made.
Well, that brings us on. Well, that brings us on pretty nicely, because we were going to ask about that. A lot of the time when you play at Matt and Phreds, you do play just with you and the piano, and these performances obviously feel very different to when you come in and you've got the live with the dynamic band and stuff. So for you, is it easier or harder to just play with the piano? Is it more enjoyable? What's it like? What are the differences?
So if I'm just by myself playing the piano, it's a lot easier. If I'm playing the piano with the band, it's a lot harder. If I'm just singing with the band, it's amazing because I don't have to think about anything. But yeah, I mean, it's quite funny because you think that you wrote these songs, so you must know them, and then you actually get up there to play them sometimes and think, oh Lord, I haven't practiced this in a few months, and that was not the right chord I just played. But the beauty is, when they're your original songs, nobody knows.
And you are, of course, playing at a jazz club as well, so
Yeah, although the last time I played at Matt and Phreds, I was absolutely delighted when there was a group of tables singing along to a couple of them. So
nice.
That was very cool. Even the piano version.
And when you come through Matt and Phreds with all the different musicians that you come through with, I've seen your band take many forms.
Yeah.
Do you get surprised with people bringing things to the table, especially live?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's really good to mix things up because everyone has different style of playing, so someone might throw in a bit of a bass line that just sort of wakes that part up a bit, or it's really good to do that, and then it remains fresh for everybody as well, just because I have to sing them all the time, it doesn't mean everyone else has to play them all the time.
Keeps everyone awake, keeps everyone interested.
Yeah, and it's just nice to play with different people, and it's great that I have so many musicians in Manchester that are up for playing my songs. I'm very, very grateful for that.
Right, so Charlie, could you tell us what the last tune we're going to be listening to is today?
So this is Needs Must When the Devil Drives.
Edward, do you want to take the last one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I just got lost in like.
in how professional
You
it's
get
all
lost
been.
in booty.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the booty on
Or
there.
lost in disco. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's good booty, isn't it? I handpicked those booties.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going.
You should totally keep
I don't think
that
we're going to
in.
edit this part out.
No, definitely not.
No.
And we also just wondered, what do you find the most difficult part of writing and arranging a tune?
So funny one with Needs Must When the Devil Drives. It was actually my mum that came up with the idea, the title for that. She was always, "Oh, Charlotte, you should write something called Needs Must When the Devil Drives." I don't know why she would. But that actually, it took me years to come up with something. Because even though I was like, yeah, there's definitely a song in there, and I know people have written songs called that before, but I wanted to do something really different with it, so it took me a while, but I finally figured out how to take stories from the Bible and then sort of use them and twist them around. So like, a dark-haired beauty is looking at you, she'll cut your hair and tell you you're through. That's Samson and Delilah. Conscience whispered but desire is loud. They help themselves though they weren't allowed. That's Adam and Eve. And it kind of goes on and on.
That's really interesting.
Oh yeah. There's one in there about Cain and Abel. He'd kill his brother just to stay alive because at the time it was do or die. So yeah, that actually took me a while of just getting that right and sort of building that story. And I also didn't want it to be really obvious what I was sort of talking about.
Which it certainly wasn't, because you just blew both of our minds there. So
oh right, okay, mind blown. Yeah. But I think the hardest part is just coming up with the thing, because once you come up with the thing, the idea, usually everything else just seems to follow. But if it's, I mentioned before about someone advised me you shouldn't write something that doesn't mean something to you and it hasn't happened to you. If you do that, then it comes a lot easier, I think, because obviously they're your feelings, your emotions. But if you do something like more of a storytelling thing, like I did with Needs Must, it can take a little while, but you do get there.
And it's quite successful.
Anyway, oh, thank you. I hope that all makes sense.
Right, so at this point, I think all there is to say is thank you for coming on the show. It's been.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It has been a wonderful experience. And is there anything, where can people find you online? If they want to listen to more of your music, if they want to find out what you're doing, where can they search for you?
Well, I'm just at home at the minute, but I'm on the old YouTube. I've got a couple of videos up online on there. They're quite amusing. So my YouTube channel is Miss Charlie Cooper, and I'm on Spotify, I'm on iTunes, SoundCloud, I've got a little website, charliecoopermusic.com, so I am there. Just Google me.
There we go.
I might put that on a business card.
Just Google me.
Just Google me.
Right, well, thank you very much, Charlie, and hopefully we'll be able to see you at the club again soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
You know what? I missed her already. Wasn't that lovely?
That was fantastic. I think that's about it for us today, isn't it, David?
You know what? I believe it is. So all we've got to do is do some housekeeping at the end of the show. So if you do like what you hear, we've got ourselves a brand new official email address. We're at speakeasy@mattandphreds.com. That's Phreds with a PH, of course. So if you want to tell us what you think of the show, or send Charlie all of your love, please do send us an email. We'd also love to hear what it is that you're listening to at the moment whilst you're all locked away and self-isolating. We'd like to get everyone's quarantine soundtracks, so please do get in touch.
And you'll be able to find this podcast on all the Matt and Phreds social media pages, as well as speakeasy.buzzsprout.com. And it'll also be the Matt and Phreds Speakeasy podcast on Apple Music and Spotify soon. just got a few thank yous as well, haven't we, David?
We do indeed. So first, we'd like to thank Claire, of course, Claire Turner, for giving us this opportunity and also for doing our wonderful intro for us.
We'd like to thank Will Mackenzie for the beautiful music you hear in between all the tunes, as well as Velvet Shakes for being our first local recommended track.
All wonderful, wonderful people. And then, of course, we have to give our big thank you to Charlie Cooper for being on our show with us and putting up with our terrible, terrible banter.
And we'd like to thank you for putting up with our terrible banter.
With just an overall thank you for that. So, thank you, and we hope to see you again next Sunday. This has been the Speakeasy Podcast. I've been David.
I have been Ed.
And thank you very much.